How the Seattle Mariners should handle first base in 2025. Let's talk about it. So for most of this offseason, there has been back and forth between who they need at third base, who they need at second base, who they need at first base. But I think first base is really one of those positions that does not need to be overcomplicated. And I'm going to go into a little bit of what I mean by that. But essentially what I'm saying is there's no reason to overcomplicate something that is right in front of your face. And that is having Luke Raley and Justin Turner play first base in 2025. As we know, the Seattle Mariners have already struck out on Carlos Santana, who ended up going to the Cleveland Guardians. So Justin Turner is still very much an option for them and would be an absolute great clubhouse fit, as we know from the last 2 months of last season. But honestly, with having Luke Raley get most of the playing time at first base against right-handed pitching, while Justin Turner works in mostly at DH, and then obviously having Justin Turner face left-handed pitching, I think this is really something that can work really well for the Seattle Mariners. And here are a few reasons why I just really think they should not overcomplicate it. And as we know, as this tweet came out yesterday about Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau most likely not being available, with mainly my focus being on Yandy Diaz, is that the Seattle Mariners really do not have that many options, and honestly, I think their best bet would be go with Luke Raley and Justin Turner. Now, there's no disputing that Justin Turner is absolutely on the end of his career. Maybe he has about 3 more years left in him, maybe less, up to him, obviously, how he feels. As you can tell by his stats throughout his career, he definitely has had not his best seasons the past 2 years. He did put up a 1.1 WAR in 2023 and a 1.2 WAR in 2024, but he's still putting up a pretty high average with 259 in 2024 and 276 in 2023. Last year saw a massive decline in his power numbers, as in 2023 he still put out 23 home runs, while last year he only put out 11, so definitely a massive drastic fall off in terms of his home runs. And even RBIs in 2023 he had 96, while in 2024 he only had 55. So another big drop off, but he is still a very good baseball player. I'll dig a little bit deeper into some of his stats a little later, but I want to talk about how sneaky Luke Raley was last season. Coming from a 1-for-1 trade for Jose Caballero and Luke Raley last offseason, Luke Raley was a massive shock last year, but in my mind, he really wasn't a shock because you can kind of see it coming from a mile away. Luke Raley put up his best season in 2023 when he was 28 years old with the Tampa Bay Rays, where he had a 249 batting average, 19 home runs, 49 RBIs, a 129 WRC+, and a 2.5 WAR. And then when he came over to Seattle, he continued that success and he got even more playing time, where he had 22 home runs, 58 RBIs, a 243 batting average, another 129 WRC+, and a 2.3 WAR. I was definitely a massive advocate at the beginning of the season when Luke Raley was not getting a lot of playing time that he really should be a guy getting playing time, especially based on his 2023 season. Is that Luke Raley's ceiling? We are unsure. I hope not, because I think he has a lot left in him and can probably even pop out 25 to 30 home runs in 2025. But I do think his upside is really there, and he just is a work machine. He hustles on every play. He steals base. He even has that speed for a big man. He has 11 stolen bases last year. Nothing crazy, but he just works hard and knows how to play the game. So as we know, the Seattle Mariners have a little bit of experience with this platoon going from July 30th through the end of last season, and both of them did very well in this platoon. Justin Turner, when he was with the Seattle Mariners, had a 126 WRC+, a 0.7 WAR, a 264 batting average, 5 home runs, and 24 RBIs in his very short stint with the Seattle Mariners last season. Now, Luke Raley, on the other hand, from July 30th through the end of the season, was one of the best players in Major League Baseball. The only 2 players that had a higher WRC+ than him from July 30th through the end of the year was Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez. He had a better WRC+ than Vladdy Jr. and Shohei Ohtani from July 30th on last season, and he just had a monster last 2 months. In 158 plate appearances, he had 11 home runs, 29 RBIs, and a 277 average, as well as a 1.8 WAR during that very short time span. Now, you can even argue that Luke Raley should just be the everyday first baseman in 2025, even though he does struggle against lefties still. I think that is definitely something that he can learn and get better at over time, but if you're going to go out and make a platoon anyway, there's really no need. Just have him mix in the outfield if you want Justin Turner to play and somebody else be DH for a certain day. Luke Raley is very versatile in that sense. I think he's a better outfielder than he is an infielder. But that is something I have discussed in a previous video, that Justin Turner will probably mix in at first base and DH mainly, while Luke Raley mixes between first base and the outfield. Now, last year versus right-handed pitching, and this is mainly while Justin Turner was a Seattle Mariner, not when he was with the Blue Jays. In 44 games, he hit .295 against right-handers, with 23 singles, 5 doubles, 3 home runs, and 16 RBIs. So as we know, Justin Turner can handle right-handed pitching just fine. Luke Raley, on the other hand, last season had 330 ABs against right-handed pitchers, where he had 46 singles, 16 doubles, 20 home runs, and 54 RBIs, and a 255 batting average. So as we know, Luke Raley does much better against right-handed pitching. So right there's no doubt that both of them can handle right-handed pitching without a doubt. Now let's talk a little bit about Justin Turner versus left-handed pitching. So last season versus lefties, he had a 252 batting average and a 119 WRC plus against lefties. So Justin Turner can handle them just fine. In his career, he does have a career 125 WRC plus and a career 275 batting average versus lefties. So as you can tell, this platoon could be pretty dominant at first base and obviously mixing in a few other positions. But if this was the platoon at first base, this would be a pretty solid first base platoon. Now, one thing that does concern me a little bit about Luke Raley going into the 2025 season is, as you guys probably could tell, he absolutely dominates against fastballs. In 2024, he had a 353 batting average off of fastballs, which is absolutely insane. But as we know in baseball, teams can make adjustments. So one thing that's going to be huge for Luke Raley in 2025 is being able to really hit the breaking balls and off speed much better than he has. Last year off the curveball, he only had a 182 batting average, and the slider, he only had a 149 batting average. So he really struggles when it's not a fastball. Even off sinkers, he has a 302 batting average. So the guy loves when high velo is in play. But that is one thing he's really going to have to learn to adjust to and be able to eventually get, at least above a 225 batting average off-speed pitches. But now moving into probably another question most of you have about the two of them is, are they good enough defensively to be able to play this position and be a solid platoon over there? So last season, Luke Raley played 275 innings at first base, where he had a -3 outs above average and a -2 FRV, which is fielding run value. Justin Turner played 240 innings over at first base, where he had a 0 outs above average and a 0 FRV. So really nothing crazy in terms of Justin Turner. He's just basically doing his job. So obviously the entire point of what I'm saying is that Luke Raley would probably get most of the reps at first base, but obviously with his defense not being great, it is another thing that he's going to really have to improve on in 2025 and work a lot with Perry Hill in getting this done. Again, I'm not overly concerned because last year when Ty France was over at first base, he played in 735 innings at first base for the Mariners, where he had a -8 outs above average and a -6 FRV. So I don't really think it could get much worse over there. If Luke Raley even just stays at zeros, we will be just fine. But the entire point of me making this is just so the Seattle Mariners really just do not overcomplicate something that should be really simple and is staring them right in the face, especially with a clubhouse leader in Justin Turner already stating that he wants to come back. And even Cal Raleigh making statements earlier in this offseason, or right when the season ended, that he's going to do whatever he can to get Justin Turner back in a Seattle Mariners uniform. Now, in terms of the other holes at third base and even second base, is probably going to be one of them, because one of them will probably be a platoon of Ryan Bliss and Demo, and then even Cole Young if he comes up later in the season. But that is for another video. So otherwise, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.